Hello and welcome to In Focus. I'm Jody Kenny. This week we are taking a closer look at Giving Tuesday. It is taking place on December 2nd this year. Giving Tuesday started in 2012 as a collaboration between the 92nd Street Y and the United Nations Foundation to create a day of generosity to counterbalance the commercialism of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It began as a social media campaign and has since grown into a global movement that inspires people worldwide to give their time, talent, and resources to support a wide range of causes. Assemblywoman Pam Hunter joins us now to talk more about the different ways that New Yorkers can contribute. Assemblywoman, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Always good to see you.
Okay, so we're officially in the holiday season. The bells are tolling. We're having a good time. We're getting out there. And giving back during this time is really crucial. So can you talk to us a little bit about some of the events that your district is going to be hosting for those looking for like hot meals or shelter?
We have participated, or we've actually organized several different activities this past year, and we're not going to stop. We're going right into the holiday seasons, partnering with many organizations who are doing some food giveaways that are actually happening this weekend. But more intentional, we've been spending a lot of time trying to get right to one-on-one activities, and that goes straight into community centers. And we have a few coming up with seniors, actually, where we create crafts for them, with them that they can use for the holiday season. It really has been an effort of love and of giving back in service that not just one time per year, but we've been doing this all year long.
Can you talk about some of your favorite charities? And I also know that you're an advocate to veteran services. How are you ensuring that veterans are getting what they need, you know, as we are kind of facing the challenges with Medicaid and possible SNAP benefits still hanging in the balance?
Absolutely. I am a proud Army veteran, and we have spent a lot of time, myself and my office, working with the folks at ClearPath out in Chittenango, also with the wonderful organization Feed Our Vets that is out in Utica, and they just do a great job providing food for veterans who need some assistance. And you would think if you served your country, why would you be in need of food? But the line is very, very long. And so it's important, if you're able, if you have resources, food resources or monetary resources, ClearPath is always looking for assistance. And Feed Our Vets in Utica, great organization providing food to our veterans. Two of those organizations, just wonderful. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my other love, which is obviously animals, and we've been doing a lot with them this past year. And I think that's a great way for people to provide service as well. Sometimes I think they're forgotten.
Yeah, so true. I want to switch gears a little bit and speak. I know veteran recognition is extremely important to you. You recently had some criticism for President Trump calling an end to politically correct military leadership. Now, you being a military veteran yourself, why are you calling this toxic ideology?
It really is toxic. That is not the armed services I served in. Those weren't the brothers and sisters I served with. There wasn't a woke agenda when I served in the military. It was all about protecting the Constitution. We raised our hand and gave an oath and said that we will protect the Constitution. There was never any talk about fat soldiers and fat generals and giving people promotions that weren't based on merit. And none of that was going on when I was in the service. And I would beg to differ with anyone saying that that's happening right now. I think that we should be respectful of the people who have served and who are serving right now, who are giving, in some ways, their ultimate sacrifice, their life, but they come back wounded in many different ways. And so I feel like that's very disrespectful for the people who have given their life and who currently serve, that is not the military that they joined and nor the military that they're in right now.
And as a wife and daughter of a veteran, I understand where you're coming from on this. Could you talk a little bit about the ICE raids? Do you have any plans in place to protect migrants who might be, you know, just walking down the streets or somehow have been targeted because of where they're working?
Yeah, we have had multiple conversations about this, not just at the Assembly leadership level, but with some of my colleagues as well. My office has participated. We actually hosted a forum with farmers trying to identify some of the issues that they're facing relative to ICE, the raids, them bringing criminal warrants, wanting to know them to make sure that they understand what the warrants mean when they present at their work sites. Also wanting to make sure people whose status might be questionable to be knowledgeable not only about their rights, but also having emergency preparedness plans in place. We hope that we wouldn't have to be having these kinds of conversations, but it's basically toolkits for people who need to know what to do if mom or dad's not home when they get home from school, or who is their guardian, what is their next step and plan. And you're thinking, like, why would somebody need anything like that? A child cannot just be given to any stranger just because the person is the neighbor. If they came home and their parent wasn't there, there needs to be a legal process in place to take care of families. And those are conversations, they're very uncomfortable. But those are the kinds of conversations that we're having with constituents. We don't want that to happen. It's been low-hanging fruit, going to courthouses and waiting for people to present for their legally lawful court date, and then being picked up and not to be seen from again. But we want to make sure that folks have all the tools in their toolkit that they need to protect themselves and their families should there be an ICE interaction.
I have about 30 seconds left. The next legislative session is just a couple of weeks away. Can you share any of your top priorities that you'd like to really advocate for this year?
Number one out the gate, we are going to continue to have conversations about wine and grocery stores. Overwhelmingly, New Yorkers have said this is common sense. They want this. It has been a long time coming. This is based on 100-year-old liquor laws that really is just not in the way that consumers are doing business right now. So we're definitely going to be pursuing that conversation and wanting to make sure in other veins that's important, but in other veins wanting to make sure we're always talking about affordability. And in my lane, you know that I've been very knowledgeable and active in the insurance space. That is low-hanging fruit that we absolutely need to do something about. And we're going to see a big crisis coming forward based on HR 1 and what's been happening with health insurance rates. But not only that, we are seeing property casualty markets crippling as well. So making sure availability and affordability for insurance across all lines are going to be a priority of mine as well.
Assemblywoman Pam Hunter, thank you so much for joining us once again right here on In Focus. We love having you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful.
You too. And up next on In Focus, I'm sitting down with a representative for one of the many charities that you can donate to this Giving Tuesday. In Focus, we'll be right back. Welcome back to In Focus. This weekend, we are shining a light on Giving Tuesday. It's a chance during the holidays to support charities large and small. And one of the charities hoping to benefit from this is Second Chance Canine Adoption Shelter. Stefanie Heath joins me now to talk more about the charity. Stefanie, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Okay, so you're located in Jamesville, New York. Can you tell us about your organization?
Yeah, Second Chance Canine Adoption Shelter, our formal name. We started the operation about 10 years ago, and really the goal was to address the overpopulation of dogs in central New York, Syracuse in particular. At the time there was just a lot of stray dogs, not many places to put them. And so what we thought we would do is partner with the city shelter and kind of create an overflow, a space for more dogs to go. And as you would imagine, it's no problems filling up those shelters, but it really was meant to address this overpopulation of homeless dogs in central New York. And at the time, we wanted to take it a step further, and we partnered with the Jamesville Correctional Facility, where we had people who are incarcerated at the facility working with the dogs. They were doing everything from caring to them and giving them enrichment and care, and it was a great program that unfortunately was impacted by COVID, but still the shelter and the dogs are functioning, and we're doing great.
That's awesome. Can you talk about how Giving Tuesday helps organizations such as yours? Do you benefit from Giving Tuesday? And if not, tell people how they can help you out.
Yeah, we do benefit from Giving Tuesday. Any opportunity we can find to really promote the mission of the shelter and also, ask for donations, we certainly do that. We run completely on donations. We don't get any outside funding of any kind. So we ask the community and the public to support us, everything from monetary donations to supporting our, dropping off blankets or toys or training treats or leashes. Those are all things that we heavily rely on the community for.
Now, one would suspect that with the government shutdown, the delay in SNAP benefits, also increased costs because of tariffs, there would be a stronger reliance on charities. What is the need like this year? What are you finding that people are struggling with when it comes to taking care of their animals, or even when it comes to opening their hearts to adopt an animal?
So what we've noticed over the last few years has really been just an increase in need across the board. Pet parents and families are reaching out for support, whether that be help to feed their pets because they may have a hard time feeding their own families, or they may be in a position where they have to move and they have to surrender their animal because they're going to maybe an apartment that doesn't allow certain types of dogs. So we're really, this has been a really big issue that shelters across the board have been receiving these types of calls. And so even more so now with the SNAP benefits being impacted, we've had people reaching out saying, hey, we're in this position where we don't want to give up our pet, but can you help us with dog food for a short time? And we have resources in the community that we work with to help provide some of those necessities for families, because the last thing we want to see is somebody have to give up their beloved pet because of a resource that's missing or lacking at a certain time. So we really want to make sure we support keeping pets and people together if possible.
And I understand that you've hit a milestone with the amount of animals you've adopted out. You really truly are making a difference, connecting animals with their forever homes.
Yeah, so we just had our 10-year anniversary, and we are proud to say that we've helped adopt out 600 dogs from the Syracuse community in central New York. We have, we're really proud of that number because those are 600 dogs that have been able to find a home that maybe, we're not sure where they would have ended up. So this is a great milestone, and we continue to look to the future, and we look to more dogs finding their homes and really bringing together families and their new forever friends.
And a lot of times, people say adopt, don't buy. And because you can find pretty much any type of dog in a shelter or a rescue organization. Could you talk about, the benefits of adopting and what an adopted dog might bring to a family?
Yeah, what I love, and I always pitch to people about when they're considering adoption, is that when we get these animals into the shelter, we really get to know them. We have behaviorists and trainers that come in, and the volunteers that will join us in getting to know what these dogs like, what they don't like, just like people. We all have our likes and dislikes. So it really is when you go to a shelter to adopt, you're not just going in with this, I like a fluffy dog, or I want a small breed dog, or it's really matching up the personality of the dog with your lifestyle. I've used the example of maybe, the 80-year-old that comes in certainly deserves a dog, but maybe not the young puppy that needs to be walked 3 times a day or needs training. So maybe more of a couch potato type. So in thinking about that, you can kind of get that match made in heaven, if you will, of a dog when you go to a shelter or rescue, because we have so much background on those animals. So in not only, is that a great thing, but you also are helping decrease the homeless overpopulation. When you choose to adopt, it's something that, you know, you're participating in kind of like a bigger picture and helping to empty a kennel so that another homeless dog can come to it.
Okay, I've got about 15 seconds left. Where can people go to learn more about how they can support your organization, maybe what you might need for donations? Where can people go?
So you can go to JamesvilleSecondChance.com to learn more about the organization. We always are in need of more volunteers, foster volunteers, taking a pet home to foster and get out of the shelter, which is great. And then also just food, blankets, training treats, leashes, Kong toys, and collars.
All right, Stefanie Heath from Second Chance Canine Adoption Shelter. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
After the break, we're continuing our look at Giving Tuesday and the many ways that you can contribute. I sit down with a member of Clear Path for Veterans to find out how this group helps those who served once they come home. Welcome back to In Focus. This week we are continuing our look at some of the many ways that you can take part in Giving Tuesday. It's a chance during the holidays to support charities large and small. And joining me now is Ryan Woodruff. He's from Clear Path for Veterans, an organization that brings military members, veterans, and their families together. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so let's start off with how your organization helps veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important when veterans are transitioning out of service that they have a community to receive them back into the civilian society. And Clear Path is all about connection. We take a whole human approach and we look at the unique challenges that our veterans are facing, and we have core programs and different services available to them to help them get to where they're going. So, you know, taking them from potentially a place where they're facing crisis to where they could be living out the full measure of their true self and thriving in the community.
Right, and often issues like health issues, substance abuse, homelessness, it all can be an identity crisis for them. Can you tell us more about the service dog programs that you have and why they literally save lives?
Certainly, it's one of my favorite subjects. So I've been with the organization for over 9 years now, and I started as a recipient going through the Canine program. I can tell you from my own personal experience, after navigating some of my unique challenges coming out of the military, such as isolation, substance abuse, there is no greater treatment that I had received post-service than actually training and being placed with a service dog. The experience is incredible. They're trained specifically to mitigate symptoms associated with post-traumatic stress. They help increase your self-confidence, self-compassion, and they really do a great job at helping veterans integrate back into the community. Rare is it that somebody could walk through a public space with a yellow Labrador or a golden retriever and not interact with the community. People are going to be gravitated towards that, and that repeat exposure really helps a veteran trust the community again, get blended in and doing some of the things that they weren't doing prior to service. In a lot of cases, our veterans are reporting that it is the one thing that has kept them going and saved their lives.
How do the dogs get trained? Like, you know, how do they intervene when somebody's having a crisis moment? Because I do see the power of these dogs.
So what's really incredible about Clear Path's Canine program is that we take a one-size-fits-one approach. We are accredited by Assistance Dogs International, and so we stand among another 66 in the entire nation, and really that's for the benefit of our veteran recipients. But when we're taking in new veteran applicants, we're really getting to know them on an authentic level through connection, through things like our culinary services and canteen luncheons, and trying to get to better understand their support system. And through these conversations, we're able to really get to know what are the certain symptoms that they're experiencing that are preventing them from leading a more independent life. That, along with PTSD, there are so many comorbidities such as anger, anxiety, depression, nightmares. And the thing about all of these different challenges is they present themselves as a picture, and we can train the dog to respond to that picture and perform certain tasks to help mitigate and ground the veteran and bring them back to the present moment. And that's a difference between a veteran living isolated in a moment of an extreme challenge and growing beyond it. So, you know, it's really incredible. They're able to do this in any given environment, anywhere the general public is legally allowed to go. These service dogs are going as well. You can see them at football games, at community events, at the grocery store, and they're really becoming just a normalized part of veteran reintegration.
And I understand that there's also career placement, family support, wellness enrichment. Could you tell us a little bit about those programs?
100%. So taking that whole human approach, we're really looking at what are the other areas that we can help influence to help the veteran better come back into the community. A lot of veterans report that they deal with pain and stress. So wellness and enrichment, we offer non-clinical modalities such as meditation, massage, acupuncture, chiropractic. We've partnered with a higher ed institution called Northeastern Medical. They have their students come in, which are going through their graduate studies and providing these services, and we have licensed practitioners coming in to help them as well. Career placement, a lot of veterans are trying to find new purpose, and like, what do I do after I just completed either a 4-year enlistment or a whole career in the military? And that can often be an isolating place to be. Our peer mentors stand ready to really help translate the military skills into the civilian culture to help them find a meaningful job for those next steps, whatever they might be. Peer mentorship, there's no greater way to help reintegrate into the community than to work with a veteran who has gone through it. So somebody that has the lived experiences, knows the challenges, and can walk shoulder to shoulder with veterans to help them get to where they're going. So there's a lot that we're doing that's certainly not all encompassing. There's so much more, and you can find it all on our website.
Yeah, what is that website first before I get to my next question, because we want to share that for sure.
The website is www.clearpathforvets.org.
Okay, and I know ClearPath is holding several fundraisers in the coming weeks. Could you talk about them, because we want to be able to provide people an opportunity to support your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've recently launched our annual appeal, so there's going to be a lot of folks getting letters in the mail to talk about some of the impact that we've had this year and a look forward as to what's coming up next year. The biggest challenge that we're facing right now is with a lot of the federal funding cuts, our service dog program is actually receiving a major funding cut. With over 55 service dogs in training right now, each costing over $50,000 to raise over the course of 2 years, we're really having a challenge closing that funding gap. So now more than ever, it's critically important that community members and veterans of family members and businesses come together to help us support the journey home by partnering with ClearPath to help support the next cohort of classes in 2026.
Well, Ryan Woodruff from ClearPath for Veterans, I really do want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'd like to thank our audience for showing their support for many of the organizations that we highlight here on this show, and hopefully they will do the same for your organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And I'd like to thank you for joining us this week and each week as we bring another issue impacting upstate New York in focus. I'm Jody Kenny. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. To keep up with important issues impacting our communities and hear more conversations with the people who are shaping the future, subscribe to our channel. You can also download our app or find Spectrum News on your TV for balanced, in-depth political coverage and more.